Hey Panthers, welcome to this week's Coaches Show. I'm Fletcher Newman, here with Coach Wendel to discuss last week's game. The Panthers played their first home game against Colleen Shoemaker and continued their season with another win. Coach, what were some key points in this game?
I think the first one was our kickoff team covered down the very first kickoff really well, put them in a bad situation inside their own 10. So we got off to a fast start. Defense got a 3 and out, and then they snapped the ball over the punter's head. So that's a safety, and they kick from the 20. We get good field position, and we just methodically go down the field, eight plays in a row without a mistake, and ultimately get it in the end zone for a 9-0 lead to start the game. So starting fast, being focused, I thought that was a big key to the game. Another thing that I was really proud of, I think we came out after halftime and went down and scored. And we didn't do that in the first game that we played, so it showed some resilience and some resolve and got better. Our focus was better in the second half than it was in our first game. So I thought that showed improvement, which was our theme for the week. So I think improving in all phases of the game, even though we had a couple of mishaps on special teams, I think we improved in all 3 phases of the game, and that was important for the last week.
How did you prepare the team to take the field after the lockdown that we had?
You know what? We talk a lot of times about just no excuses, and we just came down, acted like it was a normal day. There were some things that we did different. As soon as the kids came down, they got there a little bit later than they usually do, almost an hour later. So we had the food ready for them instead of busing to a restaurant to eat, and we loaded them up with water. But I don't know that it was anything that I did or we did as a staff. I think it goes back to the character of the team. I think it goes back to the leadership of our team. I think it goes back to the focus and the discipline of our players. And they just like to play football, and they were ready to play at 7:30.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Shoemaker game.
Start off after 7 or 8 plays with a quarterback follow with Tate, getting good movement by Ian Pollard and the fullback leading up in there for the first touchdown. Ethan Hill had a couple of long runs, the first one being a 68-yard break off right there. It's a great block by Brock Cavender and Jace Martin on a double team, got movement, and Ethan gets fetched from behind. Have an option play, good read by Tate right there to get the ball triggered. Jeremy makes a guy miss, have a pretty good block on the receiver out there, and Jeremy makes a good run and gets a touchdown. Another double team right there, I think, to start the second half with Jace Martin and Brock Cavender. Nathan Humphries gets a good jump on a ball for an interception right here. Got good pressure all night from the defensive line. Really did a good job. Good jump again by Nathan. And almost gets a second touchdown in 2 games. We fumbled the ball right there on the 1. Good hustle play on his part, good hustle play on the other team's, good learning experience. Lane Martin breaks off a 44-yard run right here. Good block again by Brock Cavender. Right up to the right. Good read by the quarterback. And Lane just like that, he lowered his shoulder and found a way to get it in the end zone. This is a good throw, good depth by Tate right there, put it where it needed to be caught. Really proud of that run, explosive run after he catches the ball for the touchdown. I think has a good play action pass right here to Avery Gibson. Big gain.
And now let's look at some of the Friday night results of the other teams in our district.
Summit beat Seguin, a 6A Summit team beat Seguin by a lot. University won 2 in a row, beating an Austin team. They look to be much improved, scoring 54 points. Burleson Centennial beat a good Denison team, 53-34. Everman lost to Stephenville 13-10 in a tight defensive battle. And then Joshua lost a shootout with Lake Worth with over 100 passes thrown in that game between the 2 teams. Burleson is scoring a lot of points and beat a much improved Denton Braswell team, 42-30. and then Aledo shut out a team from Mexico.
We have some players here with us today. Let's visit with them. First, we have Tate Corbin. Tate, what is the team's focus for last week's game coming out of your game against Creekview?
I honestly think that no matter what the score is, or if we're up by 50 or down by 20, we just got to keep going and never back down, because we kind of backed down after halftime against Creekview, and I think we did a much better job against Shoemaker.
What are some of the things that you feel you did well Friday night?
Probably my reads. I just need to attack downhill better, get the defense coming at us. Passing was pretty good. Just everything much better.
Outside of football, how do you like enjoying spending your free time?
Well, Fridays after just going to sleep, and then Saturdays I watch college football all day, and Sunday all NFL football.
We also have Caleb Tompkins with us here today. Caleb, what position do you play, and what do you enjoy about that position?
I play defensive end, and my favorite thing about that position is getting sacks.
How do you feel you impact your team on and off the field?
I just try and be the best Christian example I can, showing the love of Jesus through my actions, through how I treat people, just showing the love.
What have the Panthers been improving on from last Friday night to your next game against Joshua?
On the defensive side of the ball, just playing more sound football, just everyone assignment sound, doing everything right, doing our jobs, not being selfish.
Thanks, guys. Coach, this week we will take on Joshua at home. What do you expect from the Owls this Friday?
That's the first district ball game. Last year they gave us a great game, and they played probably above their level and played really hard and really, in my opinion, outplayed us. Even though we won the game, we had a couple guys that got big plays on them, and we were faster than them at a couple positions. But they played really, really well, had about as good a defensive plan as anybody that we played last year. And so I think they'll come in with renewed enthusiasm, because it is the first district ball game. Everybody's got a chance to go to playoffs in week 1 of district. And so I think we're going to get their absolute best.
What's the Owls' greatest weakness?
You know, probably you look up and down their roster, they're playing a lot of young guys. And so I think when you look at our team with our senior leadership and our leadership council and guys that are all in guys, compared to their roster, I think maybe the difference might be youth.
What do you believe will give the Panthers the edge over Joshua on Friday?
Well, we always have an edge when we play at MISD Stadium. It's a special environment. The kids love it every week, and it seems like as the season goes on, we get more people there, and it gets louder, and people get excited. And so I think that's an edge anytime we're playing at home, but I think our physicality will be the difference in between the lines on the field.
And now let's take a look at the rest of this week's district schedule. Coach, who do you think will win out of these games?
You know, I think Seguin and Everman will be a close ball game just like last year. I think Everman probably wins 17-14, something like that. I'll take Burleson over University, something like 31-24, 35-24. I think Aledo will beat Centennial, but I think it'll be a lot closer than most people think. I think it'll probably be 35-28.
That wraps up this week's edition of the Coaches Show. Thanks to Coach Wendel, Tate Corbin, and Caleb Tompkins for being here. Come out Friday night to the MISD Stadium to cheer on the Panthers. Be sure to wear blue as we blew out the stands. If you can't make it, be sure to listen to all the action on pantherradio.net.